So you were saying you don't like the name calling in politics?
No.
But Donald Trump is your candidate?
Yes.
He's done a lot of name calling, though, right?
Yeah, he has too, but to each his own. I just don't like it. I don't like to do it, and I'm not going to do it.
This MAGA woman is a perfect encapsulation of how the entire movement feels about their dear leader, ignoring what you don't like because there's so much more that you support. But when the so-called nicknames and name-calling are on a whole different level, other than just lighthearted jabs, there's no excuse for letting them slide.
Warren, she seems to have made it her job.
Who, Pocahontas? Pocahontas? Well, no, look, she is.
It's very offensive.
You tell me. Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Pocahontas? Is that what you said? Elizabeth Warren? She is, no, she tweets a lot about me. Every once in a while I'll tweet. And when I tweet, not that many people are watching her tweets. When I tweet, they watch. You were here long before any of us were here. Although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas. But you know what? I like you because you are special. You are special people. You are really incredible people.
The sheer cognitive dissonance and lack of respect it takes to call a sitting senator a racial epithet like this in front of the group the epithet is targeted towards says all you need to know about Trump and the lengths his followers are willing to go to ignore the harmful effects of their rhetoric and beliefs.
After the former president repeatedly used a demeaning term in his social media post to describe Chow, I won't say it, but you can see it there highlighted on the screen. He has also singled out her Asian American heritage as Miss McConnell's, quote, China-loving wife.
Even when it's not directed at one of his political opponents.
And I probably have another one. They say there's a young woman, a young racist in Atlanta. She's a racist. I tell you what, my numbers are much higher than they would have been had these idiots I have like deranged Jack Smith. Somebody said, why do you call him deranged? I said, because I like telling the truth. He's a deranged individual. They said, but why don't you be nice to him? Because if you were nice to him, he'd be much worse. He's a bad guy. They're all bad people. They want to destroy our country, and we're not going to let them destroy our country. We're not going to let it happen. All these local cases like Fani. It's spelled Fanny. It's spelled Fanny like your ass, right, Fanny? But when she became DA, she decided to add a little French, a little fancy. Fani. And you have a woman named corrupt Fani Willis. Fani. You have a woman named Fani Willis. Now, even though I believe it's spelled F-A-N-I, to my way of thinking, that's Fanny. But once she became the district attorney, I think she put a little emphasis on the U. Fani.
Look no further than the contrast between his attacks on prosecutor Jack Smith compared to DA Fani Willis and AG Letitia James.
But also the appalling misconduct by the racist and incompetent New York State Attorney General, Letitia Peekaboo James. You ever hear of her, Peekaboo James? Who is presiding over record numbers of murders, rapes, drug deals, and every other form of crime in our once great New York State. Oh, I love New York State. What happened? What happened to it? But she only spends her time going after her political opponents. Peekaboo. We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show who ran on the basis that she was going to get Trump before she even knew anything about me. She used this to run for governor. She failed in her attempt to run for governor. She had virtually no polling. She came back and she said, well, now I'll go back to get Trump again. And this is what we have. It's a scam. It's a sham.
And of course, he never passes up on an opportunity to dust off the classics.
Joe Biden was very disrespectful last night to President Barack Hussein Obama. You saw that. Barack Hussein Obama. Remember, Rush Limbaugh would always do that. He'd do Barack Hussein Obama. Sometimes I'll interchange. I'll say, by Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein. But every time I interchange Barack Hussein Obama, remember Rush Limbaugh? He'd go Barack Hussein Obama. I wonder what he was getting at.
Well, he was getting at the socially accepted and enforced anti-Islam and anti-Arab racism that ran rampant since the 9/11 attacks and throughout the Bush and Obama administrations. Trump, just like Rush Limbaugh, knows his base responds to these attacks, which is precisely why he is carrying on this same strategy with Kamala Harris.
And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't.
Donald Trump has been referring to Harris on social media as Kamala, I guess is how you pronounce it. It's 5 posts on Monday. Do you know where that came from and what that nickname means?
I can't comment on that, but I do know that when voters are making a decision, they're going to end up voting in many ways their pocketbook.
Does it bother you that it's a big part of Donald Trump's kind of campaign, the nicknames, the name calling, the...
Whatever they do. I don't know what to say about that.
You could say that you won't support him because of his constant racially charged attacks, but we all know that this woman and too many others out there are more than willing to turn a blind eye and give a pass to this rhetoric.
It gets me to question, to say something that I have felt, and it's not just in this country. I feel Dominion's that software and what they use for, I feel it's compromising any country that they're
So the things that these people have said over the past few years have gotten you to question whether or not the election was fair.
More absolute. Well, I actually had a sense of that anyway.
But if they say over and over and over the election was stolen, it's kind of natural that people would start to believe it.
Possibly for some, yes.
But then
But
the next
those of
question
us-
would be, what is the hard evidence that this is the case? You would want to see that.
But there's often been hard evidence in the past several years, that hard evidence about things, but yet people still...
Like what?
No,
With voting, like what?
Like people push a lie.
But
And
like what with the voting?
If you push the same lie enough, people will believe it.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Just like those felony things and whatnot.
No, but that's what I'm saying to you. I'm saying if they push the lie enough over and over and over again, it sounds like you believe the election was stolen, but you don't have any evidence.
Oh, yes, evidence has been shown that I
What
believe
evidence?
it. That's why I said go to Mike Lindell's channel or Dave Clement and go and look what they have. But
what do they have? You've been there. What do they have? What would show that the election was not fair?
I'd rather you go and look at it.
And look no further than the election-denying cultists to see the truly damaging effects of the constant repetition of Trump's lies and attack lines. He and his team know that the more Trump asserts something, the more likely it is for the base to take whatever he's saying as fact and spread it as truth without thinking twice. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.